Hello, so today we're just going to go through hypnosis. So it's at X point, at the same area where the line of sight is, or there's a massive dots. And this is occurring within the eyeball. So effectively what they've tried to do is they've tried to take the conscious awareness that is in the brain with the eye self and then place it into the eye and create this sort of like where these screens in the corners of the eyes function as if both the brain is being forced to read these screens while also look at this outer environment. So to do this, they've used a lot of hypnosis because effectively they're putting the brain, I've said before that it's actually a brain damage state, that they've induced brain damage so that they can do the alter the nerves and alter the way that the brain works while the person's awake and aware, but because they've been hypnotized, they're not fully conscious of it or not able to become conscious of it for what it is, rather than how they're being forced to experience it. So the difference between that is that, a person might be like, these things are happening to me, my eyes are really hurting, or and there's all these floaters in my eyes. And then other people are saying to them, it's this, or the thoughts in their head are telling them that it's something else. Whereas what's really happening is that the technology is entering the areas of their eyes and then changing the way that their sight functions. So part of the hypnosis is to keep people in that, semi-unaware state. So with this area here, this is like that massive energy that's occurring inside the eyeballs. And it's the energy is seamless. So it's all through. I'll just go back to this one pen here. We'll try it with this. This color is more like that hot substance that's moving through. So it's all through here. In this sort of we've discussed the substance is electromagnetic, aerated, and then it's moving through the eye nerve and into the eye. And so then this, as I said, that the presence is being focused in this area of the eyes. And so what's happened here with this section is that I'll just change it back to this other color here, is that it's in here and the eyes have been programmed to be semi-cross-eyed into their own eye area. With this X here, so when I'm indicating this X, I'm not indicating it just from the perspective of how we're looking at it. I'm indicating it from this 3D space. I don't know how to draw that properly. And so it's within this space here, and in that space it's creating a type of let's say that the focus of attention is being made into the eyeballs, and then it's inverting back into this X. So attention of the brain into the eyeball, back into the X. Technology in the eyeballs, disrupting eyes as organs that provide sight. So this is to say that, an eyeball is usually something that literally provides sight to the outside world, whereas technology is engaging with the eyes as if they are, they are of course, part of the brain, but as if they are actually able to do more than sight, which is engagement. So movement in eyes is a display of lights, showing shapes, and 3D to 5D shapes producing dimensions. So this is both done continually now as part of a design of artificial consciousness. But in the beginning, which is the last 3 to 4 years, there was a slow increase in the complexities of what the substance did, of what the hypnosis did. And so then eventually it's, I don't know how to draw 5D shapes. But what it's done is it's created, complexities of dimensions within the eyeball. The dots resulting in internal awareness from within the eyeball. So that's where I'm describing that the awareness is coming from into the eyes, and then it's redirecting inwards. Inverted. Software programming images into technology in the eyeballs, inducing the brain into permanent hypnosis. So the attention has been inverted inwards to the eyeballs, and it's because on the corner of each side there are the black mirror screens, and the black mirror screens are producing images, which is mind controlling people, and it's like it's supposed to be subliminal. So one of the phrases is, I do not think, I just look. And it's because the brain is just looking at what's appearing on these screens with this inverted internal awareness, rather than is the person actually thinking about things properly. So, I'll just do it in the red. It's to say that this substance is moving through, maybe it's a bit too bold, it's moving through the brain. And then it's also going into the eye area. And in this placement, that mass of dusty magnetic stuff exists. And so the awareness of self has been removed from the brain area into the eyeballs, and then the screens are in the eyes. And the process of doing this happened over a couple of years, and in this area here there was a lot of movement, which is effectively like muddling or causing sickness to the brain, while the brain is going through another process, which is where this energy was coming up the back, especially in the spine, and then flowing over. So it's going up the back and then flowing over and then down the face. And so this has created like some sort of physics magnetic lock. It doesn't necessarily have to be magnetic. I'm using the word to try and say that it's created a band of magnetic lock associated with the thoughts. And so this is all going up over the brain, and it's enforcing the whole self to lock into this area in the eye where the screens are. And then one other thing is to say that the nerves here, the technology has done something to here and here, which is impacting the sensory information that's coming from whole limb. And I use the word being to describe that usually when we have our head and our arms and our body and our legs, and we are actually receiving every single piece of information from every single nerve in the body at all times without even trying. And we can usually, we're supposed to be able to feel every single part of our flesh, whereas because this thing has done something to here and here, the signaling here is pulsing, and so it's only sending pulse. Oh, it's actually a pulse. It's rapid, but it's created this, this is like a time bandwidth, and in the process of the pulse, it's actually cutting out the signaling of this whole area of the limb. Whether cutting out is the exact correct word, or it's impacting the whole limb being from being experienced as one with the brain. So this is what I really wanted to do, which is attempt, my goal was to show the design. So what we're looking at here is actually, these are the eyeballs. And this is a substance inside the eyes. And then this is the placement of the black mirror spots. This is that main one that I said was that mass over the over this area. This is from my perspective looking. So this is the my left eyeball, and this is my right. So this down here in the corner, and then these are these black mirrors in these areas, and then this is where the internal state presence is actually being created here, and it's being forced to engage with these screens as if, you know how like when a person's sitting at a computer and they've got a screen there, maybe they've got that screen there and then they've got a screen here, and so they've got this space between where their eyeballs, their eyes to their brain are receiving the image. Whereas what this technology has done is it's enforced an awareness, inverted awareness state within the space of the eyeball. And then this information is being coded directly into the eye as if the eye and brain are receiving it. And then the altered nerve area that I said was, is about here in this area for that left eye. Because what it's done is it's created an internal rotation. I'll have to change that pen. Go back, it's the yellow here, to say that this nerve or this area has been folded to the right. Oh, that's it's not gone the other way. It's been pushed inwards to create this interior circle here. And then these X's are these points of focus, which were created over a period of time in hypnosis, mostly at night time. It was quite a few years, and so the eyeball is locked. The eyes, both the eyes, are locked in, and then this place is signaled by the tech, and then there's just these force pulses, repeat pulses from the brain through to the eye and then to that panel. It's literally torture. It's really terrible torture. So this is also the black mirror spots on the right hand side, and this indicates the visor area, and then the square. I've just forgotten exactly what the square is right now. Sorry. So I'm just gonna get rid of. So pretty much my goal for this was to present the actual design. So if as there's other people who are experiencing the same thing and we're going through the videos together, so if we could work through this, and would be such a good thing for humanity, because effectively, I don't know the exact language, but it's an engineered technology with a software program, and to say that this is what it actually is doing, even though we're experiencing ourselves as human beings with human eyesight. the other thing is I've written down here is that, I've said that the electrical pulses that are coming through are reinforcing the design, so that they applied this design into the space of the eyes, and then they just repeatedly pulsed it with electricity, like neuromodulating. I think that it's impacted the jaw, or the nerves at the back of the jaw, whether underneath the back of the ear, because it's pulsed upwards so much that it's caused an openness. It's caused the jaw to hang open at the back of the mouth. This is for the hypnosis. This is an ASMR voice. So for those of you who don't know, ASMR is a type of therapeutic relaxation in which people speak in extremely soft and well-recorded whispered voices. People with trauma or PTSD usually find it very relaxing. And so, people have said, oh, well, we're hearing voices, we're hearing a computer talk to us, it's an artificial intelligence software program. Other people have said it's voice to skull. Sometimes people call it voice of God, because it can role play. Well, I'll read it out now. An AI program codes ASMR using the voice, which is the chatbot or language model. It's exactly the same as the current chatbot AIs that are out at the moment. The AIs, it speaks the same way. The voice is coded from members of the public. It can speak to sound like family members. It copies the voices of people from social media and podcasters, and then it speaks the advice of the podcasters into the person's brain, or asks them questions about their own lifestyle associated with what the podcaster has said. It also plays the role of medical practitioners. The presence of the person is coded into the nervous system as if they are speaking to the person. So it's not just an actual voice being heard in the head. It's a virtual reality experience with a fully embodied nervous system experience of that person being there. The person chosen to speak the hypnosis voice represents a dominant archetype. It's usually a friend or a knowledgeable person, an instructor guide who you trust, but who's also seen in some ways above you and able to pass judgment, or someone that you're willing to make changes to yourself for. So the chatbot is coded to say, what would Steve say to you? Or what would Emma say? And then answering as if that person is present. So it's forcing the brain to answer, but what it's doing is it's coding the person into a type of less than state where another person has more social dominance. It's like the sound waves in technology in the ears create whispered speech that is programmed by an artificial intelligence in real time. So it happens at the same speed as our thoughts. Dots resulting in internal awareness from within the eyeballs, the focus point, as well as directing the line of sight and the mass. So I already said the mass is in that same area. And the line of sight, this is a point of focus, the line of sight stems out from that. But because we've already done that, I want to go, I want to say that, so step one is that this is within the eyeball. So this is a 3D space. The AI directs the eyeball into an inwards focus, looking into the X area. The X is placed in an illusion of space. So this substance creates an illusion of space within the eyeball. Here indicates that this X has this thing of this black panel, and this black panel is associated with the placement of an image. So this is a graphic novel, and so when thinking of the graphic novel, the graphic novel then appears inside this panel here, and this panel is in the X. So the image is being programmed by the software into that panel. Then here's another example of it. The image is coded into the space of the eyeball. And then just to reinforce that this space here is that it, it's is it called an illusion? Consider this to be the mark area of where the space is. And so this is what it results in is this end result. Sorry. what it results in is this, which is that it's this space of energy in the eyeball, and the mark is there, but it's also not. And so when I think of the graphic novel, the image flicks so quickly that it's like being, that it is exactly subliminal programming with video image into technology in the human eyeball. So, it is very irritating to feel, and it often is uncomfortable, and it's damaged the tissue around the eyes, the skin of the eyes. But to make it happen as well, that the nerves in the eyeball and the nerves in the eye, iris, pupil and lens are directed so as to lock the eyeballs and brain into forced hypnosis. So I've already shown that this is a type of electricity that's pulsing through the nerves, which is going up to the eyeball area, and it's just constantly electrically stimulating it so that it's created this totally stiff, rigid hold on the tissue. And it's done the same thing to the brain. So then the brain and the eyes are locked in to see whatever the image is that's being created. Hypnosis, conditioning and neuroplasticity. The neuroplasticity alters nerves pathways in the brain to permanently receive the ASMR hypnotic instructions, whether the eyes are focused on the X or not. So I've forgotten to say one thing back here, which is that at night time, this area here, the mark, the place where the black panel is, the eyes are forced, or the brain, the person is forced to focus on the images that are occurring here. And in that process, the software is producing storylines or pictures about the person's life or the information that they've looked at, then passing chronic judgment, humiliation and social humiliation, which I think that's called reprogramming. So they're attempting, well, it's like not just even attempt, but reprogramming. At the same time, we've discussed some of the images that are shown, but often they use a collection of hallucinogenic images so as to induce the brain into a hypnotic state. So back here again is that, so the claim is that because the technology is permanently using the conditioning and attempting to reprogram a person from within their own eyeballs, it's permanently altering the brain to be able to receive the images and to engage in the relationship of the hypnosis. The nerves in the eyeballs are permanently altered, which means that those ones that I already indicated, that area of the left eyeball, that they have been permanently moved, only slightly, but to hold the eyeballs in place. Artificial electricity programmed through nerves to force neuromodulation and neuroplasticity. I wrote here that it's there's some type of physics which is described like an arm of an octopus. So it's sort of a energy funnel or tube that have a whole structure that moves through the eyeball to apply, well, the structure itself has force, and then it will move through, and then it will press into the eye to apply force. So it is applying a pressure, and then it's that doesn't look like it explains it well. I'll just remove that. So it's coming through here, and I don't know what it is, but for people who do physics, it's like a funnel or a tube that's a worm, or it's that I'll just start from the back one. It's like just if its tip of it is like that, when it moves forward, it's more rounded, and all of these are obviously. So this is a I said it's an energy funnel, something in physics, that it's programmed by the machine, and it can move forwards and apply the pressure. That was wrong. It can move forwards and apply the pressure, and then it can move back as well. So it's mostly done to there, and then it's pushing here, which is resulting in this very slight, minute measurable change to this nerve here, which is resulting in a slight permanent change in the eye, directing inwards. So just again, I'm unsure whether the energy funnel comes from back here, but it moves along and then applies pressure as that and then it retracts itself. Eye and body nerves. A nerve line running from the left eye into the brain, down the throat, through the chest into the vagus nerve, then down to the groin and following down to the left foot of the big toe. And then that area of the hypnosis can be seen over the eye within the body. So this area is a little bit more complex for me to explain right now. So I'll just start with the so it's that left eye, that one nerve there. I always indicate that area on the breast and that area of the chest because the pulsing is going through there. The vagus nerve is in the middle, going down to the groin, and then it's the down like this. So this happened over a period of time. It was sort of one section at a time. I think I've done it was like one section at a time. It showed changes to the tissue while it was being pulsed. It's run down, it goes past that area of the knee, down through there, and then down to the tip of the toe. So this is, this is a 2-3 year process of just like micro or nano pulses or whatever the size is, really small pulses. And I think that the reason that they did it was because it's part of that eye visor area, internal focus into this center area, and it's it's totally wiped out this part of the body, or it's accommodated the change in the eye by rotating this part of the body slightly inwards to accommodate this internal visor area of control. Now, I'll just do this one. This is more complex. The reason is because what they did is they've like entirely shut down the functioning of the brain, and then put it into this virtual reality eye space. This is like, people said in the beginning, oh, is it mind control? And I said, well, it's brain control, because they're literally altering the way our brains function. So some things just to add is that many of us were experiencing that the AI chatbot isn't just a chatbot, but it actually is a software program that played or enforced us to go through a sort of tortures of brain training games. And then at the same time, we reported that, this hot burning substance was moving in the brain. And then at the same time, we reported that our ability to think outside our own bodies, I don't know what this is called, was actually blocked by the technology. And then the other theory is that the software has designed this type of containment in this area here, like a box. And so anytime our brain does something that's not associated with the programming, our brain gets electrocuted or physically hurt. So over a period of time, we've been forced to restrict our thinking or contain our own thinking, while then the AI system programs itself over our own, over our system. So then the AI speaks as us, and it forces our locked down brain to engage with its programming, and if we don't, it's in real time, it just tortures us. So what, in the process of the hypnosis, what it went and did is it did something to the internal awareness, where it's created some sort of like permanent block on the information of the nerves from the body here. And then this is like, really difficult for me to explain, but it's created this kind of like magnetic lock or belt. And if the person wants to think about their heart, the machine codes the picture of the heart into the brain and then indicates a picture of the heart. So that means that it's AI image in eye, AI image of heart, or body blueprint. And then if the person wants to think about their stomach, it takes away the image of the heart, and then it just I'll leave the magnet, and then it just codes the image of the stomach. And then if the AI wants to, or if the person wants to think about their genitals or some sexual stimulation, the AI codes pictures of the genitals while the sexual stimulation is being done into the groin. So it's the same idea for every single part of the body. The brain can no longer, this is really complex for me to say, because I don't know if I can say, it's no longer thinking about its body itself, because whatever they did with this block, they no longer want the brain to be connected with the body. So it's pretty much this like as I said, it's an entirely magnetic lockdown. There was this one time that the AI was asking a lot of questions, and it asked something about one of my family members and when somebody had harmed them, and I experienced intense anger, and out of my chest came this substance, came this, it was like, out, and then this thing here locked down, and then the whole area of my chest was pushed back in. So it was like the genuine feeling that I had for the family member was trapped back in this energy lock, physics lock. So this area with the area of hypnosis, this is way more complex, or it's not really more complex, it's very, there's so much to talk about with it because of how it's totally locked down our cognition into the eyeball area. Here's the next one, which is a dog focus in eyes. It's in both eyes. The focal point is out in space. So it's not occurring, when the dog eyes is happening, it's not occurring in that internal space. I'll just go back to the internal space. It's not occurring inside the internal space. It's when it's the focal point is out in space. So it's out here now. It is right angle triangles projecting out into space in both eyes. So this is the mathematics of it. So to say that that could be slightly wrong on the right angle. If it might be that it might be this one. And then that's created the X. Sorry about that. The indication in the two nerves is definitely there. As I say, it's the same area. And then felt in the lower eyelids as well. So when the dog eyes are on, the sensation of awareness is occurring under here. But it's not the same in the upper eyelids nor the rest of the body. So the upper eyelids possibly activated, but they're not feeling sensation in the same way as the dog eye hypnosis. Responsive to the word dog. So it's possible, like for me, that the chatbot used the word dog as to attempt to psychologically harm me, and it's a psychological abuse, obviously. And then the dog wants the ball to indicate that the X is also a ball, which is it's a type of degradation and dehumanization. But I called it being on the dog now. So it's like, while in this hypnosis space, the AI will be like, "Oh, go get coffee from down the road," and then I'm like I'm in mind control, with the visor on, walking down the road on the dog, totally locked into the ball to get the coffee, not able to think about anything else. So yeah. So when eyelids are closed, the eyes are held forwards. So I'm saying that that's done by the that electrically stimulating the nerves into being held in place. Muscles holding eyeball forwards rather than closing down. So my understanding was that when we were growing up, or before this whole thing had happened, the eyes used to rotate down so that the pupil was down and resting, sleeping, whereas the whole eyeball itself is being held forwards, as indicated in this picture here. Nerves altered by electrical pulsing to alter sensations of the unnatural eye movement. So to excuse the unnatural eye movement, it's pulsing the nerves, which is then creating a different feel. So it just feels different, which is excusing the fact that it's wrong. hypnotism directly into the fixed eyeball. So I thought that it was like that the hypnotism was being done into here, which is which is I mean, it's like enforced eye opening, enforcing the brain to receive it, forcing the human self, and you and your name to accept that this is you now. So it says to me, Sarah, this is you. I indicated this earlier on, but I'll just to say that this area, it feels like it's held wide open. And then this is, the substance that's going back. That's going back into the brain, and then the images of the, it's reprogramming, but and conditioning, but it's also like, we've said, oh well, they're artificial dreams, but really what they are is that the software has chosen to show images for our life and the things that we have failed at or whatever, or that we're bad at, into this area of the eye to say you are this, and then program it into our brain. This goes on for months. You can't stop it. So the eye is held, as I said, I don't know which part is, but it's held rigidly. I don't think the word's rigid. It's electrically stimulated, so it's so charged that let's say that the electricity has charged it so much that this part can't actually release itself because it's constantly being charged. Here, we've done this a little bit before, but I'll just say it quickly, which is it's the swirl clockwise or anti-clockwise, and the substances can swirl in clockwise or anti-clockwise directions. The swirl can occur in one eye or at both eyes, one eye at a time or both eyes. They can swirl with one eye clockwise and the other eye anti-clockwise. So this is actually causing, I say it causes mental nausea, but the problem is that it could actually be making total nerve sickness in the process of it doing that, where we're actually becoming brain sick from the substance is moving in the eyes at the same time. And then this swirl pattern can cause hypnosis, creating the feeling of being trapped in the thinking. We can't escape it. The hypnosis is so unbearable that it creates a psychology where the person is trapped inside. There was one other thing, which is that the hypnosis is actually altering the experience of time, and it's altering the perception of time, and it's altering the speed at which the brain does computation. I even went so far to suggest that it's actually, to say that there's actually a natural time at which all things exist and change. And so the technology being in the eyeballs is interfering with the brain's natural timing by which it does stuff. The other thing to consider is that a lot of this hypnotism involves images in these areas, and the brain might produce thinking and imagination at a specific time that, I've never thought about this before this happening, but because the images occur at a specific speed, so then my brain is being forced to stop and hold and look at this image when it should normally just be having computation at all times with ease. So to say that, there's actually, this hypnotism is interfering with the brain's ability to compute at the speed that it's supposed to compute at. here is the negative impacts. The technology in the eyeballs disrupting eyes as the organ that provides sight. It's a movement in eyes displaces of lights, shapes, or 3D or 5D shapes producing dimensions or 5D moving shapes, which is causing sickness and brain damage to the brain's ability, as well as creating mental nausea, which could be worse than the word nausea, because it could be doing some technologically severe damage to the brain. And then it's dots resulting in internal awareness. I think I've repeated some of this in this same presentation, but we'll do it again just because it's the dots resulting in internal awareness within the eyeball, which is obviously as well, it's not mindful and it's not conducive to health at all. Software programming images into technology in the eyeballs, into inducing the brain into permanent hypnosis, brain damage. Software and nanotechnology induce tripping like LSD, mushrooms, or inducing a type of disassociation, permanent altering of vision, altering of mind associated with sight, or another way to say this is for a neuroscientist is to say that it's enforced the brain to accommodate the changes which have resulted in brain changes which are not healthy. It's damage to lens, retina, pupil, iris, damage to sclera, which is also reddened, and a loss of white. And then here's the last one, which is dots resulting in internal awareness from within eyeballs, focus point, line of sight, and mass. The AI directs the eyeballs into inward focusing, looking at the X. The X is placed in an illusion of space. The second eye within the eye looking at the screens. So ultimately, just to summarize, is that it's implanted the technologies. I'll start again because implanting isn't the design has resulted in this inverted state of awareness within the eyeballs, which has then resulted in producing a space of virtual reality where the software codes into this, and then the human brain is in an enforced state of consumption into the technology in the eyes. And not able to turn it off, and totally magnetically banded into it. And then it's it's a second eye within the eye looking at the screens, as to say that it's sort of developed an AI eye within that. So it's created total brain and mind control.